Hello and welcome everyone to this lesson where we're going to look at adverbs and adjectives ending in ly. Okay, it's because of a question that came from Dominique, and she asked, is friendly an adverb? Can we say he spoke to me friendly? So obviously that's the question. We need to look at the word friendly. Now, there are two groups of words ending in ly. Let's look at both groups. The first one is obviously ly adverbs. Ly adverbs are always adverbs of manner that answer the question how. And they come from an adjective. For example, if our adjective is clear, clear speech, the adverb is clearly. We just add ly and now we have the adverb. So a clear speech, but to speak, a verb, clearly. Or careless is the adjective, a careless driver, but to drive carelessly, right? Nice and simple. But of course, there are always exceptions. So it's important to know those. We're looking at the important ones, the common ones. And there are two main exceptions. Exception number one is that some adverbs of manner don't have ly. And I've divided them into two groups. One very small group, that's where the adverb is completely different from the adjective. And I could only think of one example. So that's the adjective good, which becomes the adverb well. So we don't have the word goodly. We can't add ly. It's good, adjective, a good plan, and well planned. Now, still staying with exception one, so no ly, but a different situation. And the situation is where the adverb and the adjective are exactly the same. So again, we can't add ly, but the word doesn't change. It stays exactly the same. I've got 8 examples in this group for you. One is fast as the adjective, a fast reply, also as the adverb, to reply fast. The next one, late, a late arrival, adverb, to arrive late. Adjective, early, an early departure, same word for the adverb, to leave early. Next one is long, a long life, and the adverb is the same, long, to live long. Let's look at the other 4 that I've chosen for you. These are the common ones. Short, adjective, a short break, short adverb, to cut short. Fine, as an adjective, a fine view, means a nice view, and fine, as an adverb, to see fine. Here it's more like well, to see okay. And the next one, very important one, hard, a hard job, and also the adverb, hard, no ly, to work hard. And the final one, straight, a straight line, and the adverb is the same, no ly, to walk straight. Yeah. So remember, you have to remember these. That's the only way. But very importantly, there's a note here, and there are 3 of these adjectives, short, late, and hard, that have adverbial form, like hardly, lately, and shortly, but the meaning is completely different from the adjective. So shortly means soon. I will write to him soon. I will write to him shortly. Lately means recently, like I haven't seen Jim recently. I haven't seen him lately. And hardly, that's probably the trickiest one, means almost not. So if you hear or say, I could hardly breathe, it means I almost couldn't breathe. So it has a very specific meaning, this one. Okay, so that's important to remember. So now we can look at exception 2. There are only 3 words I have chosen, or there's 3 common ones in this group, and that's where your adverb of manner can be with or without ly. And the three adjectives are quick, slow, and loud. But what's important to remember is that the form without the ly is very informal and mainly common in American English. So, for example, the adjective quick, a quick meal, the correct adverb form is quickly. And I would recommend you use that, to eat quickly. But don't be surprised if you hear the word quick used also as an adverb. Eat quick, very American. Staying with slow, a slow walk, but instead of saying walk slowly, which is the good form, sometimes you will hear to walk slow. And loud, that's also a very common one where adverb and adjective forms can be the same. A loud voice, adjective, and to speak loudly, the best form, but also very commonly to speak loud. All right. So we've looked at those adverbs. Just before we look at adjectives with ly, one important note again, and that's to do with the word real. Now, real has two meanings, really. The real meaning of real is true. Real meaning true, for example, a real improvement. There, the only adverb form is really. So to really improve. But you know that we can also use really as a synonym for very or completely. And that's where it comes before another adverb or another adjective. And used in that way, of course, again, really is the correct form before an adverb or an adjective, but you could also hear it without the ly. So the correct form is really nice, but especially in American English, you are likely to hear, oh, real nice, that's real nice. So just remember these little exceptions. So that's about ly adverbs. Let's look at ly adjectives. And that's where things can get confusing. So there are a few adjectives that actually end in ly. And the common ones, we have one group that are descriptive. For example, friendly, lovely, lonely, costly, orderly, deadly, lively, elderly, cowardly. These are all adjectives. They describe something or someone. So the adjective form ends in ly. What do we do for the adverb? Can we add another ly and say friendlily? Doesn't sound right. It's phonetically awkward to have two lys, lily. So in this case, and we can't use them directly as an adverb, we have to create a phrase with them. So it's not an adverb, but it's a phrase that acts as an adverb, and it would be with the words way, fashion, and manner, in a friendly manner, in an orderly fashion, in a lovely manner. Right? You have to create these phrases. So a friendly man, but to behave in a friendly way. Now there's another group of adjectives that end in ly, and they're related to a time period. You're very familiar with them, like daily, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. For this group, the adjective and the adverb take the same form. So weekly is an adjective, but also an adverb. We can have a weekly meeting, also to meet weekly. Therefore, we come back to the question that Dominique asked, is friendly an adverb? The answer is no, it is only an adjective. Can we say he spoke to me friendly? No, because it's not an adverb. Remember that you have to create a phrase that replaces an adverb. No, he spoke to me in a friendly manner or fashion or way. Now, that answers the question, but I wanted to go one step further to finish, and that is to also remind you of how to create comparative and superlative adjectives with these ly words. Looking at ly adjectives first, two cases. If your ly adjective has 2 syllables, it always has at least 2 syllables, then use er and est. So for example, for the adjective deadly, the comparative is deadlier than, and superlative is the deadliest. Because generally speaking, all 2-syllable adjectives that end in y, the sound e, take er and est. For example, happy, happier than, the happiest. We never say more happy or more deadly, because they end in the 2 syllables ending in the sound e. Or lucky, luckier than, the luckiest. So that's the case with 2-syllable adjectives. Now, if your ly adjective is longer than 2 syllables, if it's multi-syllable, then of course the rule stands and we need to use more and most. So for example, if you have cowardly, cowardly, that's 3 syllables, then of course we use more and most. More cowardly than, and the most cowardly. And of course, time-related adjectives, weekly, fortnightly, etc., naturally don't have comparative or superlative forms, right? And to end then, just looking at the comparative and superlative forms of ly adverbs, with the adverbs, regardless of the number of syllables, whether it's 2, 3, or more, always use more and most. So for example, if the, I've written adjective there, it should be adverb. If the adverb is clearly, the comparative is always more clearly than. So clearly is just 2 syllables, clearly, more clearly than, and the most clearly. And carelessly is 3 syllables, carelessly. And of course, then naturally, we will use more and most. More carelessly than, and the most carelessly. Okay, I think that's the end of the presentation. I hope it has clarified or given you some guidelines as to how to use ly words, whether they're adverbs or adjectives, correctly. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. For more on this topic, click here. Remember to also check out my complete online course, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and happy studies!